Greetings, I am the Dairy Bastard, and my hobbies include sunsets, long walks at the beach, and fucking! Lots and lots of fucking! Welcome to part 2, folks, of God of War.
I have plenty of white stuff for you.
Oh, that's...
The best part about this is that Kratos currently has just as many tits as they do.
Yeah, man, I remember when they made a big stink about this, the sex mini game.
That you don't even see.
You don't even see it. You see a walk jar, and it makes a fucking man out of you. Oh, yeah, now we're beast mode, ladies and gentlemen.
Good.
We
Nice
knocked
cut.
over a vase.
Yeah, knock over a vase with sexual moans in the background. Yeah, I'm not kidding about that. They made a pretty big stink about that.
Yeah, and God of War, well, I'll give them props for this. They responded by turning it into a series tradition and making it more progressively more ridiculous every time it appeared.
Yeah, I love that.
The key piece of humor is not even the sex itself, but the thing that the camera focuses on while it's happening.
Yeah, I think God of War 2 is a peeing statue.
Yeah, it's one of those little peeing cherub statues.
Yeah. So, this is the final costume that I've yet to explain that you get for completing Challenge of the Gods. This is the God of War costume. This is the Ares costume. The most beneficial armor in the game. You get twice as many orbs, you deal twice as much damage, and you take twice as less damage.
Is there a downside?
So it's the I win button.
Or half as much as most of us would say.
Yeah. It is the best armor in the game. I think it's well worth completing Challenge of the Gods to get it. And the reason why I'm wearing it for this commentary is because, folks, I'm pretty sure all of us here are going to do our best to commentate over God of War. The thing is that God of War gets a little samey, especially around the midway points, and that's very boring to watch.
Yeah, it's one of those more fun to play than it is to watch things.
Yeah, so anything to speed up the process so we can talk about this and that at a brisk pace is all good for it. Although I'm going to be doing some editing here and there. I'll explain what I mean when we get to those parts of the game. But anyway, for now, let's just bask in Ares. It's a badass armor. I really do like it. This is the armor you get at the end of the game when you finish it, but you never get to use it until you unlock it. That's always kind of weird. I think you would think you would get it after beating the game and use it for like New Game Plus, but no, you have to do a completely separate challenge to get this armor.
Yeah.
Is this what difficulty is this playthrough?
This is normal. This is a normal mode.
Oh, you're not even playing hard mode?
You can't use the costumes in the hardest mode, which is, I think, Spartan mode.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I played Spartan mode, and to be honest, the mooks aren't that much different.
They just do a fuck ton more damage, really.
God of
Yeah.
War is no Devil May Cry, and it's certainly no God Hand. You're not going to be really pressed by the challenge of the game. It's a very straightforward system, and that means that no matter how much health the enemies have or how much damage they deal, taking them down is always just as straightforward.
Yeah. It's true that enemies will dish out more damage in higher difficulties, and that's always a dangerous thing. But there is a way, if you really know your stuff, to manipulate enemies so that you can always deal with them in a specific way.
Yeah.
By the way, for the next 2 parts, I'd like to dub them A Funny Thing Happened to Athens on the Way to Ares. Because I swear to God, Athens just exists to just poke fun and really make a really miserable day for the citizens of this place. They get shat on hard.
Yeah. And I wouldn't have a problem with that if we didn't start on such a goddamn somber note when this game booted up. Yeah, I'm gonna keep going back to that. It soured my entire impression of the goddamn series from the word get-go.
It's just a story. It's not important. Why can't you just look at the gameplay, Lewis? Jeez.
Alright, first of all, everyone who says that has no idea what they're talking about. And second of all, if it's not important, it shouldn't have started off sounding like it was. Which is the problem I'm trying to talk about here. Like, okay, Doom, which I am getting into right now, it starts on the most fucking bombastic thing ever. And it keeps that tone throughout the entire thing, even when it's actually actively trying to have a story. Like, okay, there's an exposition dump, and then Doom Guy just punches the monitor out of his face. He's like, get that bullshit out of here.
Because he's motherfucking Doom Guy.
Yeah, that's consistent, but it's also a story. It's just a consistent story. If you're going to have a story that doesn't take itself seriously, have it consistently not take itself seriously. If you're going to have a story that doesn't take itself seriously most of the time, but then turns around and takes itself seriously, you have to take care that it comes off well when it happens rather than discordant. And that's a delicate balance, which God of War completely shits the bed with.
Oh, you're trying to push him off?
He's been stepping on the air.
There you go.
You only had to defy gravity for 30 seconds.
See, Mario, this is how it's done.
I dubbed the Shove of War.
Do you not get orbs? Oh, he tried to come back.
Nope.
The developers really did not mean you to do that.
No. There's some of the only orcs you could do that to, though, in this game, because those are some of the only ones that are positioned near pits like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can totally shove them off the edge like that, and it is faster, because orcs can take some time to kill. And one of the enemies that were introduced earlier in the part was the Minotaurs, and there's the intended way of killing them, and then there's what I dubbed the unintended way. You're supposed to dwindle their health enough time so that you get the circle QTO over their head, and then during the kill event, you're supposed to mash circle and you shove the blade of chaos down their throat. It's pretty satisfying. However, you can also launch them up into the air and repeatedly throw them.
The good old rope-a-dope.
Until they just give up.
Until they just give up and die. And you can do that with or without the Ares costume. It's fucking hilarious and way more safe than the intended way of killing them. Because you're pretty much invulnerable in midair while in the middle of tossing them.
Well,
and this is how we this is also where we start getting into how God of War likes to hide its secrets, again, because as Lewis mentioned, the camera angle is for the most part fixed, so you pretty much have to work against the damn thing to find hidden stuff.
So it's Final Fantasies for the PlayStation.
Essentially, you know, the camera
Kratos,
focusing
why
on
are you
the way
floating?
out. The camera focuses on the way out, so go the opposite way.
Yep.
And most of the time, you're gonna find a chest.
yeah. Well, there is the occasional odd time where if you jump too soon, you'll just fall to your death. But, well,
Yeah.
then you're just stupid.
Or you just waste time.
Oh yeah, you don't actually die when you fall. You kind of respawn with some health lost or something. Ah, another talking door. What random quest are you going to send me on today? That's the thing about Fable. There are these talking doors. They send you off on random quests that are really goddamn obtuse a lot of the time. Like, there's this one door in Fable. I forget whether it's 2 or 3. I think it's 3. Where you have to find yourself a wife or a girlfriend and marry her, or propose to her, rather, in front of the door. Oh, now that we've got a completely topless Lamia demon on screen, I should mention a piece of trivia regarding the monster models in this thing. There was, in fact, a monster model with his junk hanging out, and I think you can still access it in one of the debug rooms or something. But it had to have itself, it had to have a little loincloth added in because, well, it
was just that particular model of the orc was just scrapped altogether.
Oh,
they went through like 5 to 6 different designs for the orcs.
The thing is, it's still in the game, but nobody made a big deal of it and made the game rated adults only because it was stuck in the coding. And it's not even just in the coding; it's fully visible in a room that you can access via, I think, a cheat code.
No. You're thinking of the well, first off, the penis orc is not in the game itself. The room you're talking about is after you beat the game. You get the deleted content room where you can see all the ideas they had originally intended for the game, and there was a lot of references to. Have you guys ever seen Jason and the Argonauts?
Oh, in middle school, like years ago.
Well, just classic adventure films from the 70s. So Jason and the Argonauts, Sinbad of the Seven Seas. Originally, like a lot of the mooks were going to be, classic, skeletons and all that sort of thing. But they ultimately went against it because they thought it was just too bland, and they wanted something a little more grotesque. But one of the many different orc designs that you can find in that room, one of them goes into detail how one of them had, a penis. Because, we got female monsters with their tits hanging out. Why can't we have male monsters with their junk hanging out?
It makes sense because they're not exactly people. They're more like animals. Animals don't get dressed unless it's in fiction, and they're trying to censor themselves for the people on the other side of the fourth wall.
This is not a time of chef outfits and scuba diving gear and business suits and cow costumes.
But it's just I don't know that. I don't want to say it rubs me the wrong way because it's not exactly true. But
do you really want that orc rubbing against you at all?
It just put me off that was where they drew the line.
To me, I think it's more a matter of what they thought their audience wanted to see. The game's audience is like 14-year-old dudes. Not saying that 14-year-old dudes are the only people who can enjoy the game. I'm just saying that that's their focus group for this. And 14-year-old. I was
gonna say, Ted, I was 15 when this came out.
Yeah, 14-year-old dudes don't want to see dicks. They want to see boobs. So basically, that's probably why they left it out.
Yeah, well, joke's on them because the first time they find themselves on an adults-only website, hoo boy.
Dicks everywhere. Is that the God of War orc?
Honestly, probably, knowing the internet.
Most likely, yeah.
Oh, we get to use a ballista? That's actually pretty cool. Do we ever...
to break down a door!
Now that I think about it, is there going to be a problem if we don't paste something over the monster boobs?
No.
Oh, okay.
I've seen plenty of playthroughs on YouTube that don't do anything about the boobs or anything like that, and they're perfectly fine.
Well, technically, it's part of the game.
Yeah, it is part of the game.
I think that's the loophole that sets it apart from actually uploading something that's inappropriate.
It's okay, they're not real boobs.
No, I mean like there's some specific detail in the, I guess you could say, official outline of things that you can't upload that makes it okay to show that kind of thing to a certain extent if it's just a feature in a game or a movie, provided that game or movie does not cross a certain line as it is.
Yeah, I think if it's not straight up, as long as it's not straight up pornographic, you're fine.
Yeah, it's like on DeviantArt, like you can do nude stuff, but you can't do sexual stuff.
You can't show penetration.
Yeah.
Penetration.
We're 5. We're 5-year-olds.
Yeah. No, I'm 29.
Oh, old.
I'm 28. I'm just not afraid to admit that I get a laugh out of immature stuff from time to time. You don't have to be 5 for that. I mean, for God's sake, my latest gaming addiction is Dune. That's the most juvenile thing on the planet.
And to be fair, it's not like we're not being, accurate. We are penetrating a lot of things with the Blade of Chaos, if not outright slicing them in half.
Well, if you're gonna get technical, that kind of word is usually only reserved for stabbing with daggers and poking with spears. We are slicing and tearing, ripping and tearing.
Don't you get other weapons in God of War, though?
In this game, only one other weapon is the Blade of Artemis, which we're not getting until later.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no. There's another weapon. There's the heavy sword, but people don't usually use that because it lacks the Blade of Chaos's range in exchange for power.
That's what I mean. Blade of Artemis.
No. Oh, wait.
The Blade of Artemis.
The Blade of Artemis.
Are you sure?
Yeah, you only get one other weapon in this game.
You only get one other weapon in this game. That's the Blade of Artemis.
I thought you were talking about the replacement Blades of Chaos that aren't actually the Blades of Chaos, but
no.
do the same
The Blades of Chaos are always
thing.
the Blades of Chaos, yeah.
Well, at the very end, very, very end of the game, you get the replacement Blades of Chaos that you start God of War 2 with.
The Blades of Athena.
But, it's just a... Oh, yeah, that's why I got mixed up. Athena, not Artemis. Totally different.
Blades of Milk.
Although, for a weapon based on Artemis, I would have found it more appropriate to have a spear, I think.
Or a bow and arrow.
Or a bow and arrow as well. And yeah, that's a thing that you get, I think, in later games, is a bow and arrow.
Because I'm pretty sure Artemis is like the god of archery. She's also
god of hunters, I think.
Yeah, but she's always depicted with a bow.
Yeah, but a spear is also a thing because a spear is both a war tool and a hunting tool, so it is quite appropriate to that deity.
Spears are underrepresented in video games, I think. They're
Not
cool weapons.
really. Not really. There are a fair number of characters who use spears.
Because Spear in God of War 2.
In fact, there's usually a spear user in basically every JRPG ever, because it's a pretty good weapon class in Final Fantasy, one of the big ones.
Well, I don't usually count games like Fire Emblem or I'm talking about games like these, like the big action-y type games.
Yeah,
you
but
tend
you
to
know,
see more swords or axes or
yeah, but
things like that.
even then, there are a fair number of games with spears in them. Like basically every game FromSoft makes has spears, and they're usually some of the best weapons that you can pick.
Oh.
Do we want to count Dynasty Warriors?
Oh yeah, there's always going to be someone with a spear in Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah. Okay, that guy just decided to end his life by himself. That's fine.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
that
it's
happens.
Kratos.
Side note, whoever designed those climbing around and fighting...
You can do it, Kratos! Push, Kratos!
It's just whoever designed those climbing around and simultaneously fighting sequences on the walls there deserves to have a heavy object dropped on their big toe.
I think we just killed him right now.
Oh, yeah. That's good timing.
Yeah, it's really good. I thought that was intentional. I thought that you were doing it. Yeah, I did that. Did you see that?
Oh, hello. Off you go.
Every time I see a Ballista in the background of a video game now, I have flashbacks to the final boss of Dragon Age Origins. Specifically the console version where your characters can't go all that far away from whoever you're in direct control of because the console version is ass. But there's a sequence where in order to efficiently damage the final boss, who's a big motherfucking black dragon, you have to go around this really huge arena and have one of your characters work on these ballistas. Usually it's going to be your thief character because when the ballistas inevitably jam up, the thief character can get the thing working again. I think. I'm not sure if I'm remembering that right. But the point is, I fucking hated that sequence because I played the game on the console version and I couldn't get it to work. So I basically had to turn the difficulty down to easy to have a prayer of actually defeating the boss in any reasonable amount of time.
Oh,
And
thanks,
all
Morgan.
of this is to say that I just fucking hate ballistas in video games now.
Don't get me started on the Fire Emblem.
Oh, the goddamn Ballista missions in the first GBA Fire Emblem can go fuck themselves up the ass. They pester you for like the first half of the chapter. You finally get your archer over to one, and no, there's like maybe one shot left. Screw those things. I hate them.
Okay, I just had another flashback, but this is going to be a weird and really, really fucking obscure one, and it has to do with the game that I'm recording right now, Gex 2. Like, the trailer for Gex 2 showed Gex jumping across these really small-ass pillars, presumably to demonstrate how precise the 3D platforming control was. And if that isn't a laugh, I don't know what it is, because it's not precise at all. But, like, I looked around for ages to find out where in the game that scene was. And it's not even a place that I think you can really physically jump across in the game. It's in the hub world. It's just the random pillars that are around. And there is never a point where you jump across those pillars. They exist in-game, but it's not something that you actually do.
Yeah, you maybe just fuck around, but it's not game.
I'm not even sure if you can physically get up there. I just found the place, I recognized it, and I'm like, okay, dude, what the fuck? Why did you put that in the trailer? That is...
Yeah, like, why is this in the trailer?
That's kind of fucking misleading. Oh, man. Not that that's unique. It's just a standout example in my own memory. Bullshotting is a pretty common thing, unfortunately.
Yeah, they just put them on an assembly line and they come to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the tightrope sections, if you take too long, they will knock you off of it. But on the flip side, they go down really easily. So.
Yeah.
I'd recommend using a heavy attack on the tightrope because it's a slower swing, but it's longer reach. And most of the time, one-shots them.
Yeah. Okay. I do like the environments in this game. They put a lot of, well, not a lot of little detail, but just enough detail that you can almost think there's little detail in there. Like, I'm pretty sure half this stuff is copy-pasted assets, just cleverly arranged, but...
Yeah, look, the left wall has a torch, the right side does not.
That's just inconsistent.
Yeah, I don't like this game anymore.
Symmetry is off.
Now, that's actually totally believable design. Like, whenever you see medieval corridor or anything of that sort, there's usually torches along one side of the wall, not both. Or if they are both, they're going to alternate between hallway segments because you don't need two torches lighting up the same space. That's a waste of firewood.
Yeah. You see, if you can get situations like that where the enemies are bottlenecked in a hallway, Medusa's Gaze is actually really good.
Yeah.
Because you can get multiple mooks at once with one stare, and then you can just shatter them easily. They will break free of their stone prison after a while, but you have more than enough time to capitalize.
They're carrying a bunch of softs.
Yeah.
That is a running theme that is not going anywhere anytime soon. Kratos holding up someone's head and using it as an attack lantern.
It's Grecian times. They don't have flashlights yet.